Hello, the internet. Welcome to the most exciting video that will ever be on YouTube and not get watched. Not to say that it's the most exciting video ever, just of the ones that don't get watched. We are finally at the end of the first round. 64 games have entered. My oldest boy and I have played all of them, one at a time, in groups of two. The one that scores the most points plus half the die roll moves on, if it scores enough. The loser goes back on the shelf for another 12 months. If a winner doesn't score enough points, a game from the play-ins can take its place. And so we have 3 games on the bubble. Only one of which, Rain. Uh-oh. I left the price tag. Everyone knows where I got it from and how much I paid for it. Oh no, the horror. Is the last game of the 7 games in the play-ins that scored 18.5 or larger. These 2 are games that were in the tournament and only scored an 18. And therefore they're on the bubble. Also notice that we also have dice for each of these. That means that none of these games ended in a blowout. And all of the games to move on will have to roll well enough or have their opponents roll badly enough in order to win the match and move on. Now, for those of you who have watched all of my videos, first of all, I would like to say greetings to the year 2030. I hope that your year of 2030 is much better than 2015 has been so far. If I'm wrong, leave a comment in the comment section. I guarantee you there will not be more than one comment on this. Because cats can't type. All right, anyhow, you'll notice in the last video we had 4 games in the bubble. And there are only 3 games here. The reason being is that the final game that was from the play-ins was Cats and Quilts of Calico, the digital version, which scored an 18. Any game in the tournament that scores an 18 automatically gets a tiebreaker over the game in the play-ins. Second tiebreaker is, of course, the seed. Second tiebreaker is the pre-die roll score, which is why Wingspan has the tiebreaker over Ticket to Ride. The third tiebreaker is the seed. So therefore, it turns out, because of that, Quilts and Cats of Calico have no chance of making it to the next round. They have been officially eliminated from the tournament. We will play that game again next year. But since it scored pretty high, scored a 16 before the die roll, it will definitely be in the tournament next year, in the main tournament. So we look forward to playing that game again. But these are our 3 bubble teams. Now, with the exception of the first game, each time a game moves on, it will knock out a game in the bubbles. If it doesn't make it, the first game in the bubble makes it. If the game scores well enough to make it into the bubble, then the final of the bubble will leave. If not, the bubble is safe. As a result, a lot of things have to go right for Ticket to Ride, USA version, to make it back into the tournament. It was an 8 seed that scored an 18, rolled a 6 off of a 15 score, and so its chances of making it are very low, very low. In fact, they are 1 in 130, so 0.7%. Wingspan has a pretty good chance. Their chance is 53%. And we have a piece of paper because we do not own the physical copy of Wingspan. We have a digital version of Wingspan. Some games we will play digitally. Some games are just better that way. I won't tell you what the percentage chance is for Rain. We're going to find out real quick what happens to Rain. So stay tuned for that. All right, so our first matchup was our 3 seed, Hero Realms, which is a deck building card game, which 2 years ago was our runner-up, did not make the Final Four last year, versus our 14 seed, Chronology. And since there's dice, that means that Chronology put up a good fight, or maybe Hero Realms didn't. Hero Realms is always a kind of a fun game. We do like Star Realms better. 2 advantages to Hero Realms over Star Realms. Hero Realms can be played with just one box, can be played 4-player, whereas Hero Realms you have to buy 2 copies to play 4-player. The cards in Hero Realms are a little bit stronger than the cards in Star Realms, so it plays a little bit quicker. But we do like Star Realms a little bit better. It scored a 17.5. Now, normally a 17.5 would mean that they would have to roll a 2 or better, but because of tiebreakers, unless Chronology beats it, Hero Realms will move on to the next round. Chronology, you're probably a game you have not heard of. It's actually a pretty fun game. You start off with one card in front of you that has an event and the year that that event took place. So it could be like the invention of the internet or something like that. Then someone will read the next event, and you take turns, and you guess which side of the cards that you currently have that it fits. So when you have one card, you're just like, is it before that time or after that time? And if you're right, you get that card. If not, better luck next time. And you keep playing until one person gets 10 cards. Now, of course, I handicap myself because playing with my kid and me being really good at history, I play with starting with 0 cards. So my first round, I automatically get the card. Also, I have to be last in the rotation. So I'm almost like 2 cards down at the start. That being said, I still won, and my kid had 8 cards. We actually played this, when we played it with my mom. It was one of the last games we got to play with her, and try not to tear up here, but then she passed recently. So Chronology is going to be one of those games that, just because of that, for sentimental reasons, always going to be dear to our heart. And it scored a 15.5. It's not a great game, but it is a fun game. And it does teach you a little bit about history, so it's a great game to play with kids. And it's a game you can get for pretty cheap. We picked this one up from the Goodwill for a couple of dollars. So now we're going to have to roll off. We take the roll divided by 2. So for Chronology to win the match, since the higher score before the die roll is the first tiebreaker, it will have to roll a 6. And Hero Realms will have to roll a skull, which is a 1. If Hero Realms rolls anything but a 1, it's automatically in the tournament. If it rolls a 1, it's in the tournament unless Chronology rolls a 6. Everyone got that? Because it's 17.5 to 15.5. All right, let's see who makes the first game of these final 8 games to make it to the tournament. And by the way, that is why Quilting Cats of Calico is not on the table, because it's not possible for one of these teams to not make it at this point. Because even if Hero scores a 1 and gets an 18, it would have the tiebreaker over Cats and Quilts of Calico. All right. And rain will be in, by the way. I know I'm giving it away, but... And with a 3, that gives it a 19. And so Hero Realms will be moving on to round 2. Easy peasy. All right, in our 6-11 matchup, we actually had a much closer match than we thought we were going to get. Eco Fluxx was probably a game that a lot of people will probably like, that's not a great game. It's an okay game. We actually like this game quite a bit. There's only 3 creepers in the game. It plays pretty quick usually. Sometimes the creepers are kind of annoying and hard to get rid of and takes a while. But this is a game we like quite a bit. It's easy to play. It's quick. And so we got as 17, which for a 6 seed, pretty decent score. Now, here's the thing with Eco Fluxx. At this point, if you've watched all of our videos, again, thank you for watching us from the year 2030. Hope you're doing well. Don't tell me if the Orange Man's still in office or not. I don't want to know at this point. None of our 6 seeds have made it so far. Two of them have been relegated, not relegated, have been knocked off by playing games, and one got upset by the 11 seed. So this is the last chance for a 6 seed to make it to the second round. And it went up against the 11 seed Age of Empires. This is a game that has a lot of choices to make in it. And so when my kid was younger, he didn't like this quite as much. I like the game. It's fun. He's liked it more and more as we go on. So it's one of those kind of games. It's kind of like a work placement kind of game. And there's different avenues to score points and do well. And, I obliterated him. He still had fun. So if you can lose a game huge and still have fun, that means the game's a pretty good game. It also scored a 17. Now, when we have 2 games that score the same, we're going to roll the dice. But there's a chance that we roll the same on the die. If that happens, we have to have our second tiebreaker. Our second tiebreaker is my kid and I vote on which game we like better. We both voted for Eco Fluxx, so Eco Fluxx has the tiebreaker. If we both vote for opposite games, then the better seed would have the tiebreaker. So once my kid voted for Eco Fluxx, it had the tiebreaker no matter what. So, so Eco Fluxx has the tiebreaker. Age of Empires is going to have to roll higher than Eco Fluxx in order to win this match. One of these two games will have to roll a 3 or better to be guaranteed a spot in the second round. If they only roll a 2, if Eco Fluxx rolls a 2, being the 6th seed, it would have, the Rain would be in automatically, which I've already told you it's going to be in because of, well, this. But then it would actually beat out Wingspan, because Wingspan also scored a 17, but it's an 8 seed. This is a 6 seed. If Age of Empires wins with a 2, meaning that it rolls a 1, it rolls a 2, Wingspan will eventually be in after we deal with this mess. Age of Empires would jump to the next bubble spot. All right, everyone got that? If they both roll a 1, they're both out. They're both out. So 1 in 36 chance neither one goes. The green die is Eco Fluxx, because Eco Green. I'm typecasting it. And then the white die is Age of Empires. Let's see who moves on. Is it Eco Fluxx? Do we finally get a 6 seed in the second round? Or will the 6 seeds be all one and done? Will we get another 11 seed in? That would be 2 11 seeds. And the dice say, oh boy, no 6 seed goes to the second round. All of the 6 seeds have been eliminated. Age of Empires 3 moves on to the next round. And since it moves on to the next round, Ticket to Ride USA is officially, you can see how much we've played this game, is officially out. Officially out. All right. Wow, what a turn of events. This leads us to our 7-10. Now we do have one 7 that has, no, we have had no 7s move on. And we will have no 7 move on. Oh wait, no, sorry, I'm reading this wrong. We had 1 7 move on, only 1. Neither of these games are going to move on. They both scored a 15. Yes, this is chess, literally chess, which as time goes on, my kid likes it less and less because the other games are better. War of the Worlds is kind of an interesting game. It is a area control game that also has a deck building element. You draw 5 cards each round, and the cards could do different things, and you can use the cards to buy better cards, and you can get rid of cards from your deck, etc. It does have one fatal flaw, though. In this game, the aliens are way more powerful than the humans. It is not a balanced game, and for a game that's 2-player only, that's a bit of a problem. But it is kind of a fun game, and so they both scored a 15. Now, that means if one of these rolls a 6, that would be an 18. That would put it into the bubble. So no matter what, Rain is in because it's an 18.5. So Rain is in the tournament. That is our 7th playing game to go into the tournament. We don't know yet where it's going to go. I have some ideas. We'll cover that in just a moment. But if none of these roll a 6, Wingspan will be the only game in the bubble. If chess rolls a 6, it will actually, Wingspan will be the last game in the bubble. If this rolls a 6, you know what? Because of that, actually it doesn't matter. I'm just realizing it doesn't matter. Even if chess rolls a 6, it's out. These games are both officially out. Because none of them can Wingspan has a tiebreaker because it scored a 17. So this die roll is not for placement into the tournament. It is purely the black dice for War of the Worlds, white dice for chess. This is to see who gets 64th place versus 67th place in the tournament. And that's big because whoever loses this match is most likely going to be relegated next year to the play-ins. The winner of this match gets one of the tiebreakers for not being relegated. So a lot of the 15s are in danger this year. And so we're going to see who wins this match and is safe from relegation. Chess does have the tiebreaker because we both voted chess over War of the World. Actually, no. My kid voted chess. I voted War of the Worlds. Chess has the better seed, so chess got the tiebreaker. And chess wins the match with a final score of 17.5. And so chess is going to be safe from relegation. War of the Worlds is not guaranteed it will be relegated, but it's probably going to be relegated. We'll come back to, we'll circle around back to that in just a moment. All right, our final matchup to decide. So again, Rain is in. That's the game that's in. Our final matchup is Rick and Morty versus Stratego. Stratego has no chance of making it in the tournament, but it, in theory, could win the match. It scored a 14.5. So if you're doing the math, you realize that Rick and Morty couldn't have scored that great. Now, Rick and Morty's are 2 seed, but it has a slight problem. It's not a consistent game. It is a game that, depending upon setups and which characters you get, that could determine who wins the game. And it is a little powerful, and it does sometimes make for a game that's less exciting. As a result, it only scored a 16.5. For it to move on, since Wingspan has the tiebreaker at a 17, it has to score an 18.5 or higher. If it scores an 18, Wingspan is re-emitted back into the tournament, makes it after all, and Rick and Morty's the one that's out. The 2 seed could be out. So it needs to roll a 4 or higher. It's got a 50-50 chance of making the tournament. The only way it can lose to Stratego is if Stratego rolls a 6 and it rolls a 1. So it's probably going to win the match, but will it move on, or is Wingspan going to be back in the game? Also, this will really, really throw where the play-ins go into complete disarray, because the 2 seed would then go to the burger joint, the winner of the play-ins. So let's see how we go. And the final game, making it into the second round of the tournament, is, with the white die being Rick and Morty, the black die being Stratego. Wingspan. Wingspan is back in the tournament. The 2 seed is out, ladies and gentlemen. The biggest upset so far in the tournament, the 2 seed is out. This is even crazier than the 13 seed beat the 4 seed. The pandemic loss to the 13 seed Luna. Wow. The 2 seed is gone in the first round. What a crazy finish to the first round. So Wingspan back in. All right, so by the way, the 14.5 Stratego is relegated to the play-ins next round, which is probably where it deserves to be. It's kind of a fun game, but it's the kind of game you play once a year. All right, so that means we had 14 relegated games out of 64. That's 14 that scored below a 15. We currently, because we just bought Puerto Rico, is not in this tournament, but it scored an 18.5, so it's going to be like a 3 seed next year, maybe a 2 seed. That's 18 games between the play-ins and 2 games that we've played for placement next year that go into the tournament. So that means we have to pull 18 out. 14 are the ones that got 14.5. That means we have to pull out at least 4 games that scored a 15 in the tournament. Possibly more, because we have probably 2 more games, Wits and Wagers and Beyond the Sun, that will possibly score 15.5 or higher and be in the tournament next year. So somewhere between 4 to 6 games are going to be out. Now, these are not going to be in stone, because we have some games in the play-ins moving on to the second round that might score under a 15, and if that happens, then they will be relegated instead. But right now, the relegations are looking like the 16-seed Valerian, 13-seed Citadels, the 12-seed Star Trek Original Series deck building game, which breaks my heart a little bit because I kind of like that game. The 11-seed Forgotten Depth. And then on the bubble for the relegation, for when we play some of the other games, is War of the Worlds is on the bubble. So if we play Beyond the Sun and it scores a 16, War of the Worlds is out. We'll be in the play-ins next year. Followed by Cthulhu Fluxx, which was an 8-seed that lost to the 9-seed Ticket to Ride USA, which was why Ticket to Ride USA was in the bubble. And then Ticket to Ride USA and Chess are the next two, but they are most likely going to be safe. All right. In terms of seeds, all the 1 seeds made it. 3 of the 4 2 seeds made it, with Rick and Morty being replaced by a plan. All the 3 seeds made it. 3 of the 4 seeds made it, with unfortunately Luna beating Pandemic, so Pandemic's out. The 5 seeds, 3 of them made it. 1 did not, was replaced by a plan. For the 6 seeds, none of the 6 seeds made it. And then we had the two upsets, which was Age of Empires over Eco Fluxx, and we also had Kingdom Builder with a come from behind victory over Planet Defenders. The dice rolled the day on that one. For the 7 seeds, we only had 1 7-seed move on, as 2 of the 7 seeds, which was this one and a different one, get replaced by plans, and the 10-seed Elder Sign upset the 1-seed First Class. By the way, fun history lesson. Last year, War of the Worlds played against Nightmare Chess, which is a card game that uses chess with cards. And War of the Worlds won that game, but didn't win by enough to move on. And then this year it plays chess, and due to a die roll, loses to the die roll. So, poor War of the Worlds. And then it might get relegated to plans next year. So that's been its history. So for the 8-9 seeds, the 8 seed has only made it. We have 2 seeds that made it since the wingspan is in. Only 1 seed got knocked out by a plan, and I said at the beginning of the season that this would probably be the case. And we had a 9 seed that Axis and Allies beat Bella Magica. So we've got 2 of the 8 seeds, and wingspan and 1 other, which is Circadium's First Light, which is going to be one of our next 2 games to play. This is going to be our next matchup, which is going to be Power Grid versus Circadium First Light. So that should be a very interesting matchup. All right, in terms of the play-in games that made the tournament, the 7 of them that scored 18.5 or higher, we have the Burger Joint is going to replace Rick and Morty as the 2 seed, and it will go up against the seed that replaces this, which I'll get to in just a moment. Earth, which had the highest score in the tournament, in the play-in tournament, but lost because of a bad die roll. Those pesky dice, will take Carcass Evan's place, and will play against Ticket to Ride Old West. We have 2 6 seeds that got knocked out. The first one is going to be replaced by Zombie World, and it's taking the place of Stocks and Bonds, and we'll be playing up against 7 Wonders. That should be quite the matchup. The other one, we have Twilight Imperium, which will be taking over the place from Lord of the Rings Cryptozoic, a game, the deck building game, and we'll be going up against Ticket to Ride India. The 7 seed that's going to go up against Rick and Morty is going to be a card game. So a card game's going to go up against the replacement for the card game. And it is going to be Catan Rivals. Will be going up against Rick and Morty as it took out chess. And then for the other 7 seed, that is going to be Masterpiece, kind of an old game, art bidding game. Takes out Legend of Drist, and will be taking on Agricola. Agricola is going to destroy it. And finally, Rain, who finally got in, punched his ticket in, will be taking over for Ticket to Ride USA in the 8th seed. And we'll be going up against Jump Drive, and, well, Jump Drive's going to run this game over. That's going to be a blowout. So that is the end of the first round and some stuff for the second round. Any surprises here? I mean, this was a shock. This was a shock that Rick and Morty didn't make it. That's a game that we've had as a 2 seed, but it has never made it past. I think it made it to the Elite 8, but it's never made it to the Final 4 because it just isn't consistent enough. This is a pretty big surprise. Age of Empires seemingly coming out of nowhere to beat Eco Fluxx. So what surprised you the most? What matchups are you looking forward to in the second round? Who are you looking forward to win? And maybe people you're voting against in the second round. Now remember, the second round, it is a straight up A versus B. There is no plans anymore to worry about. Of course, we still have the die roll, but whoever has the best score after the die roll moves on in the second round. So it gets a little bit easier, a little bit less to talk about. And we'll be doing one video for each of the divisions. So we'll have one for North, West, South, and East and South. Hopefully one per week, approximately one per week. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer because 8 games takes 8 days to play usually. I was looking to see quick games. The quick games are mostly out now. So now we got the long games like Twilight Imperium. So until the next video, that's the end of the first round. And we look forward to the start of the second round. I'll see you, you'll see me then from the year 2030. Hopefully a little bit better. Goodbye.